Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii, and my co-host, Tina Bird. Greetings. I hope your day's different, night, whatever it is exciting. We need something going on in our lives today with all the weird stuff going on. So, hello, Tina. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, Tommy. Hello there in Hawaii. I'm Tina Bird, broadcasting here from Southampton in the UK. Nothing special really going on here in the UK. I've been trying to look up some news about ufology, and believe it or not, it seems to have been wiped from the internet. Went on our search engine here in the UK, and apart from last year, it seems that nothing's happened in the UK since last year. There is no news of ufology I couldn't seem to find, so for some mysterious reason that's disappeared. But it's 7 o'clock on a Thursday evening here, 27th of February 2025, and the only thing that really has been on the internet here and across the news has been about the asteroid strike that may hit us. They reckon we're going to gain a lot in 2028 and for it to come around and hit us in 2032. They've been going on about that, saying it's going to hit India at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And another thing, the other thing I managed to find out, they've said that a Muamua is coming back. That thing, what they call an asteroid from outside of our universe that visited us on a one-off trip, has apparently flown out of our universe. However, it's taken that long, done a U-bend, come back, and it's brought friends with it. So I'm not sure when they're going to advertise that. That was been a little chit-chat for the last couple of days. I've not seen it as yet or anywhere else. So I'll be looking forward to anyone that can come up with any information about a Muamua and its friends. So that would be very interesting. I'd like to know that a bit Star Trek involved there, for it to leave our universe, exit our universe, come back into our universe and bring friends. So, but apart from that, no, I've had a few questions recently about my book, and just to answer those questions this is for you, Natasha. So it's this is put together when I first came forward. The whole reason I did the book is when I came forward that my partner and I were experiencing serious health issues. And the only reason I came forward was to get my partner some help. It was serious, so I had no one else to turn to. When you're faced with life-changing decisions, you look at all the options you can. So after speaking to the GP and the hospital and everyone else, the only person I could reach out to was the field of ufology. And I found Gary Heseltine and David Hodrin, and told them about what had happened to me. And of course, Gary Heseltine, who did an absolutely fantastic book. You can all get that on Amazon. Did a brilliant book, which is out. He was an ex-police officer. So put me in touch with David Hodgem, who did abductions. And all I really wanted to know was there anybody else that had suffered what we'd had and what my partner had gone through as well. And I wanted to know if any of our abductee had these symptoms, and could they recover, and had they recovered? Because it's a bit of a shock saying that you have cancer in your body. They're definitely sure it's cancer. You've not got long, or they don't know where it is in your body, but you've definitely got it. So that's the only reason I came forward. That's for that. And yeah. So then other people asked me, what did you talk about more? I've done some lecturing about it, and then all I've simply done, this book is just literally what I could remember while I was just writing it down about what happened to me over the years. There may be more, I don't remember it, but I'm looking forward and looking into some kind of hypnotic regression. But I want it to be, I want the right people involved. So yes, I am looking into that, because before we looked into it and the person went missing and never turned up to do it. So I'm not quite sure what that was about. But this is all this is. It's just an account, my account of what's actually made it to me. I don't make assumptions. I just literally told you what I could remember has happened to me. And if I have made an assumption in the book, it's purely, and I do say so, that I think in the book this has happened. But it's literally what I saw and what happened to me. People have asked me to write another book, but all I can do is elaborate on what I can remember and hopefully try and find a way to put some pictures in it. But that's the book you've been on about. That's it. I know you read a few pages on Kindle Unlimited, but yeah, if you want the book, it's same as places Kindle Unlimited. It's on Amazon. It's £10, and I know you've read quite a few pages and that, and you had quite a few questions, which I'm happy to answer for you. But and the person that has more experience than me is Tommy. I mean, with Tommy's great age, his experience over the years, I'm just a normal abductee that this has happened to. So I can only tell you my account. I can comment on other people's and what they've told me, but everyone has their own experience. So apart from that, I can't comment really on anyone else's abduction case. All I can tell you is that, yes, I've spoken to other abductees. They've had the same kind of reasons for me coming forward, and to put anything to rest and save repeating yourself, literally put it in a book, and that's why I chose to put it on Amazon Kindle Unlimited so people could read it for free. I couldn't afford much. I don't expect people to pay. It's really a warning about what people think's happened, and what the people have this fantasy. Oh, I'd love to be abducted. No, you wouldn't. And anyone who does say that needs a psychiatric evaluation. It's not what you think it is. You're not particularly chosen. You're not ready for it. So the book kind of just tells you, because I'm a very blunt person, in black and white what happens. When I did the lecturing, lots of people said like they could see the emotion and trauma come through, but I just tell it as it is. And unfortunately, some people have a fairy idea that I've misinterpreted it. No, I haven't misinterpreted it. I could only tell you what happened. I can't tell you something that didn't happen. One particular comment from a gentleman was, it was kind of... he was working at the assumption that they're really friendly. They might be, I don't know, but they didn't really show friendship towards me. I was more of a commodity. They do have an agenda. For them, he was trying to say that we welcome them down. I said, well, at the end of the day, did you ask them to come into your home? Why didn't they make an appointment in daylight hours? Why did they get permission before they took you? And he said no. I said, well, that's abduction. If they didn't make an appointment to come and see you and they'd taken you under the guise of night, if they were friendly, they would come during the day. Because they've already studied us, they know about us. They would come during the day if they were friendly. They would announce themselves. They would ask you and invite you to go, not take you where you're at your weakest under the guise of night when they subdue you, when you take you when you're asleep. That is not an act of a friendly party in anybody's book. And they certainly wouldn't be taking your children and ripping parts out of you. And then I think the only reason I'm here today is because the one that knows me made them fix me. Now, because of something they did, I was bleeding, I was hemorrhaging. Now, if it's something they did and he made them fix me, then fine, but it was their mistake. If they wouldn't have abducted me, that would not have happened. But the toss of the coin is, well, if he hadn't have said fix you, then you'd be dead. But then again, if they hadn't taken me, I would be dead. I wouldn't be dead. So, it's tit for tat. You can make an argument on both sides. But so it's not people that are obsessed and generalize and want to say, oh, they're friendly. How the hell do you know they're friendly? Have you seen them face to face? Have you been on that table where they're taking parts out of you inside? So again, that really doesn't come across in my book. I've tried to keep that separate, which is why I air my view on the show with Tommy. But as for the book, the reasons that you asked me why, and that's why Natasha, that I done the book, and it's purely my account. That's why I've not put any. There's no objectives in there. There's nothing. It was just purely my account of what's happened to me. But with that, I'll chuck it back to Tommy. But I'm sure Tommy's had the same questions over the years, and that's literally, the abductee will tell you the same thing. You do get fed up with repeating yourself, but there's no assumptions in the book. Like I said, if I say then I would say I believe, but it didn't. That's what happened, and I don't believe that they are friendly. But I'll let Tommy answer that. Do you think that an abductee would misinterpret? Tommy's another abductee, so this is his point of view. So Tommy will tell you what he says. Would you misinterpret it, abduction, as a friendly act? Do you think that it's meant to be friends, but you've taken it as an enemy in the wrong way? Or was that real in you?
You know, these people, and we use the word experiences, the people that say they were abducted and then they had a great experience. Well, they've been here for ancient times before we were, and they have never did one positive thing for the human race. So when people say they went on a trip and they saw universes and they learned the language and all this stuff, does it help the human race in any way? Of course not. Second of all, they have zero proof of what they're saying. So when I was dealing with this since I was like, I mean, I saw my first ship at 6, my first alien at 12. But when I'm talking about working with women that have been abducted and were able to prove it by losing their children.
Can I just stop you there? So when you were 6, so I'm just trying to, because Natasha specifically asked me a couple of questions, very nicely. So I'm just trying to get to the answer. So when you were a child, like you were 6, you saw them try to come into your room and take your brother. Do you feel that was a friendly act, or were you fearful for you and his safety?
Well, here's the thing, people. Abduction means taken without your permission. If an alien ship lands in your front yard, they walk over to your door, ring the bell, knock on the door, and say, "Excuse me, you want to come on our ship?" That's not an abduction. But that's not the way they take people. But when I was 6, I was in a hospital. My brother was in a crib, I was in a crib, and a friend was across the way in a crib. And a light was blasting through the window, and my brother was standing up in the back of the crib screaming. So I ran over to the window, right into the middle of the beam. The beam was coming right on me, and I put my hands up like that on the window, and I watched the ship shoot right back out into space. But that was 6 years old. I didn't have anybody telling me what to do or any advice from anybody. I just did it. But by the time I was 12, that's when I had my second event. A ship landed in my yard, and I had my friend staying over my house for the first time. And we heard noise, and we went downstairs, and this alien was walking around in my house on the first floor. We ran back up and got baseball bats and a stick, and we went down and chased it. It got on the ship and flew away. But it wasn't there to say hi to us by any means. But then, by the time I was 17 and 18, I was really pulled into it, even though I was battling religions. But I started meeting women that said they were abducted. Jersey's a hot point. I'm not going to go into all the details. I'll do a show about it one day soon. But basically, during that time frame, even when I was about 13, Hudson County Park, New Jersey, was a big park, considering it's right smack in the middle of the city with a lake, a small lake, and everything else. A ship landed there. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and all the people that were fishing saw it because they were all fishing at the lake, and it just landed right there. And when it took off, not all, but many of the windows in the apartment buildings around the park were shattered when the ship took back off and went back up into space. And it was in the paper for about one day. Said unknown thing lands and blah, blah, blah. But they didn't go into any detail because they didn't want to talk about it then. But you know, when you witnesses to real things is different than when you hear somebody tell a story. But by the time I was 18, I started doing hypnosis at 14, but by the time I was 18, I was already creating ideas to do things called past life regression, which I created when I was 18. All right. Then I did psychic implant removals later on. But during that time frame, the women that I met in Jersey proved to me that they had a child, or having a child, I should say. And the day before it was born, the ship took them out and took the child away. Now, the sonograms and everything, the women showed me them. When she went back to the hospital the next day, because she was supposed to give birth to the child. And I said, "Oh, no, there's no traces of you being pregnant. How could that possibly happen? Impossible, by our technology anyway." But then a few that I worked with said they were taken back on a ship. They were showed their child a year later. One lady had 2 of them taken within 2 years. And she said she'll never get to see them again. So you call that friendly, no matter what the reason is. I'm not talking about people that get abducted and everything else going on. I mean, there's only a few reasons why they're here. Children, semen, uh, and blood. Blood is one of the main things, but ovaries, and that's what they take. They're not here to teach you anything about a spiritual path or things like that, and they never did. They don't know nothing about a real God. They pretend to be God to a lot of people. Now, the tall whites are very much human. I mean, looking, not that they are. But again, they tried working with our government, and the government refused to work with them. Even though the United States has a base in the United States, Area 54, all right, is a base where they can come, go, and everything else. There's one person in the United States that deals with them, was working for the Army on that base. His mission was he had to send balloons up to check the weather and everything. But funny, the tall white's children came out to see what they were playing with, and he made friends with them. But he said they're toxic. They could kill us if we touch them, and you pass out and almost die if you get near them, really close to them. But there's truth out there. But who do you want to believe? The government? They can't say a word about what's happening for real. They can't admit what they did. Now, all the people that I knew directly that were involved in the government, highest clearance, including T.J. Morris's husband, who I'm going to do a show on that, Tina. If you want to come on, it'll probably be next week. But I'm bringing her on. I'm going to talk about what her husband actually did when he worked at Area 51. I mean, he claimed he flew the first UFO for the president. He killed 139 people for the government. I mean, his story is horrible in a lot of ways. He lost his leg and he was alive for a year, but even on his dying confession, he admitted everything that I. But she had clearance. She was driving in and out of Area 51. That's how they met. But her story is incredible about Area 51. But as far as the UFO world, I've been in it. I watched it, and watched it. I work with hypnotizing people that were abducted. All right. Now, a lot of these so-called hypnotists that claim all these things put suggestion in these people, make them say things. You have to let a person speak. But when you hypnotize a person, which is dangerous when you're trying to get into a psychic level, you hypnotize things around it. And just so you know, people, and I challenge all the hypnotists on the planet, because I worked with an Army hypnotist when I was 17. I worked with Kreskin when I was 12. So what I'm going to say is, when you hypnotize a person, whether you believe in spirits, entities, demons, or any of that stuff, they all get hypnotized when that person is hypnotized. And then what also happens is the person doing the hypnosis hypnotizes all the things around him. So when they ask a question, any one of those things can answer. And they're not always telling the truth. A lot of entities and souls are stuck here because they don't know the truth. So when they talk, it's a lot of stories. So very little information comes from that, even though, I got this information and they said this. Out of all the psychic prophecies like we're talking about, very few of them are actually followed through. I mean, like Sodom and Gomorrah, Noah's Ark. But outside of that, if you hear stories when Sean David Morton prophesied 9/11, he didn't go there that day. He didn't say a word during the day it was going to happen, and it did happen. He described all the things. He said 3 attacks, and he went into detail. In 2000, the year before, in New York City, in front of 250 people, I was with him. I mean, I was his bodyguard whenever he came into New York. But he died right before Christmas, along with my nephew, and we were going to do a movie on a UFO that was in a lake, and everything's always stopped. And the reason is, I know 16 of my good friends have been taken out. Now, on the other hand, why am I still here? I have no clue. But again, I think they just like to see who I talk to and find out more people that they could go after.
Well, hopefully you've not been talking to Gene Hackman today. Did you hear what happened to him?
Who? Gene Hackman?
The actor Gene Hackman.
No.
They found him dead in New Mexico with his wife and his dog at his home address today.
All of them did?
Yeah.
How? Did they say anything?
It was on the news this morning here in the UK. Sadly, actor Gene, they found him dead. Gene Hackman, his wife, I think she was only 60-something, and his dog, all 3 of them found dead in their home in New Mexico.
Fame is still real.
Brilliant actor, but that's a sad way.
What people get involved with helps determine what happens, especially when you're dealing with money. And now Trump arrested, Musk had somebody arrested. he said he was going to cut Musk's guts out, and they found who hacked it, and they arrested him. So when you say certain things, a terrorist attack on a person, it becomes a problem. They're not going after everybody, and the people that don't have money can't go after the people that are attacking them. Poor people don't have the ability to go after the people that are stealing their image and making their sites and making them bad.
Saying that, I know people over there hate Donald Trump, and I wish he'd come to England and be our Prime Minister when I was. But I'd like to congratulate. Is it Dan Bongino? He does all the YouTube and interviews and things like that, and then he's just been made head of the. Is it CIA or FBI director?
So, I'm not sure.
Sorry?
I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah. I've been watching the is it been up in the Senate or whatever? But yeah, so congratulations to him. So well done, Dan.
Here's the thing. Politicians have to go by who they and what they're told. All right. Now, the Republicans and Democrats do not agree in the United States, and you don't know how much bad things are going on right now. Yeah. But Trump is letting Musk do everything he wants. Now, Germany's going after Musk. Even Musk's brother sold all his Tesla shares. I think it was like a fortune because it's going bankrupt.
I think everybody's different, but they don't deserve death threats. And I believe Elon's been having. He's been inundated with him, and I think that's wrong. That's terrible. Nobody should have to be.
90% of the people that think bad think he should die. All right. Now, I don't believe in killing people in jail. I think they should be put in jail and starved to death, fed bread and water until they die. TV, have sports. They're mass murderers, mass rapists. They should not be given that, period. But again, you don't have the right to put a switch and electrocute the guy or chop his head off or anything. So that's one fallacy. They're trying to do a number on that. Trump wants to bring it back. But here's the thing, people. Karma is something that all people on this planet have to deal with. What you do, what you create will affect you and when you die. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's your choice. But the truth is, most people think they can get away with things. Or kill somebody. Nobody knows. And just because your president tells you to go to a country and kill people doesn't make it right. I mean, if you believe in the Ten Commandments, how much you believe in that or not, people say, well, they're outdated laws. It's not outdated not to kill. It's not outdated to believe in God. I mean, it's not outdated for anything in the Ten Commandments. Do not hurt people.
Yeah, you shouldn't hurt each other. We're the same people. We're from the same planet. It's crazy to hurt each other. It's madness.
Planet Earth has always been invaded. Every race that has been here has been taken out by alien races. Now, there's 9 races that have been playing with planet Earth since the beginning of time. There's about 27 alien races which are real, but the other ones cannot do anything because they're not evil and they don't kill and they don't do the things that all these 9 aliens do. Because, I dealt with one of the highest people in the UFO world. He died a couple years ago. His name was Bob Dean. He had the highest clearance in the Army. He was friends with my friend's father.
I've seen some of the stuff he's great.
They knew everything. He admitted they dealt with 27 alien races. All right. Putin went on Russian TV and said to Trump, I want you to tell the world what you're doing with aliens. There's 27 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Putin said that live on Russian TV. Then he told Putin told Trump to his face the same thing. Now, the day after Trump met Putin, he created the so-called Space Force, which was already there.
Space Command, yeah.
Now what's happening is, I know more about Tesla than probably anybody else in the United States. All right. That could talk about it or admit anything about what he did, where he was, what he was doing. But he did work with an alien race. So did Einstein. But
can I ask you a question? It pertains to the same kind of thing. Recently, it said that President Trump signed an order to look into the JFK files, and they've actually been granted access to do that. Is that true?
Yeah, but you know what? It's outdated. The truth's out there. The person on his dying bed who worked for the government said me and 3 other people, and he named them, were responsible for taking Kennedy out. And then he died right after he said it. So, did you want to promote your book before you?
No, Karen Fletcher, yeah.
Hold
No,
on.
it's only because we do hear things in the UK, but we don't ever get a follow-up. So I love doing my little shows with Tommy because I get to hear the little snippets that we don't normally hear. But before I go, I'm just going to say about my book again. Thank you, Natasha, for getting in touch with me, and I hope that's answered your questions. Please feel free at any time if you want to know more about my book or ask me questions about what I read. That's the whole point. Please do so. It's just a message to everybody about what does happen and this is what's happened to me. But my book is called The Bonded, The Truth About Alien Abduction. It's me, T.A. Barrett there, and the RBS number's on the back. And it's a 10 quid, I think, on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it in Kindle, and you can get it for free on Kindle Unlimited. So go to Amazon, and it just tells you literally about my account. It's just about my abduction account. And it has it all in there. Please feel free to contact me if you want to know more or answer questions. I wrote the book so people could read through it and make notes. There's really nice to make notes. If you want to make notes, contact me and ask me. But that's literally what it is. It's just my whole account about being abducted and what abduction is to people. And my other book, I do have other books. This is The Guardians of Light and The Brotherhood of the Night. And there's me, T.A. Bird again. There's my RBSN number on the back there. Again, you can get this. I love this book. I keep telling people, look, there's my bookmark. I read it over and over, even though I wrote it. I love the book, love the story. There's a great story behind it. That is available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle, and I believe it's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm not quite sure, but I think it is. So check that out. Guys. But for me this week, excuse me. But for me this week, please, guys, get in touch. Natasha's messaged me. Guys, Tommy has so many published books. I wish he'd advertise a few more. Tommy's put his email on screen there. So if you'd like to contact us or come on to the show, or like Natasha, you have a question, whether it's about me, Tommy, a book, a question about another show, or you have an answer for us, or you want to give us some intelligence, say something that's happened, something we're unaware of, please, guys, shout out. Tommy's put his email, like I said, on the screen. There it is. Hawksblood1 at AOL.com. Give Tommy a little shout out. He has books. Please look for them. He has a free book you can download and get. We're here every week. We're hoping when I'm a bit better to do longer shows. But guys, from me, Tina Brady in Southampton, Kate, take care. Keep looking up as well. And it is going on. Do your own research and read every book possible. Bye-bye, Tommy. Until next week, I'll see you all then. Thank you for today. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Sorry, Tina. It's always a pleasure. She just had an accident again. She's dealing with so much stuff. She had a triangle ship come over her house, pyramid shape. She takes pictures of it every night. So I keep saying they're watching her for a reason. But I want to get into the title of today's show, What If? Now, Ancient Aliens and everything you listen to, it's always somebody, Richard Dolan or somebody else. And the worst evil person out there, I could say, is Stephen Greer, saying what they think and feel and think they know. They know nothing. Stephen Greer never stood next to a real alien, no matter what he says, and never had any real good conversations or proof of any of it. So, people, when he goes on about all aliens are good, he's brain dead because obviously they're not doing one good thing on this planet. Everybody gets abducted. Now there's a big mind programming thing going on. I can tell you this, whether you want to believe it or not. Back when they first started working with aliens, they made a deal that the people cannot remember what happened. Then after about 25 years, people started remembering things that happened. So now, instead of blocking it out, they reprogram them with a great idea. Oh, it was beautiful. So when people say, well, I was on a ship and we went, they're not radioactive. They're not different in any way. Your body can't travel through space, period, people, whether you realize that or not. It's a great programming. when people get abducted, they stay in the ship right above us. They don't go out into the multi-universe far away. They're traveling at light speed, which cannot be done by Russia, China, Germany. All right. And your body cannot deal with that either. I'm going to tell you a secret story. And this is from people, scientists that I knew. He said twice a year, they would be picked up by aliens, put in this suit and injected with fluid to travel to some place where they would have this big conference. You can believe it or not. But again, I dealt with people constantly disappearing and taken out. So when a person dies that's talking about UFOs, I can guarantee it's not because they're crazy and want to commit suicide like they did with Phil Snyder. He was out there speaking for months until he was killed, not committed suicide. I mean, he was wrapped in barbed wire, and there was no blood there, nothing. But what they said happened to him, he tried committing suicide. His hand was slit off straight across. His stomach was cut from here all the way down. His foot was blown out. How do you do that yourself and still survive and everything else? It would have been reports in the hospital. When he did get cremated by an alien, it was in a base. And his story is incredible. It's the second most important UFO story out there, people. The first is what happened in New Jersey with Tesla. I'm not going to go into that right now. But I mean, you could listen to the Philadelphia experiment, which is a real event. There's a movie made on it. And they keep saying it could have been a make-believe story. It could have been real, maybe not. But it was real. I dealt with one of the few people that was involved with that, and the only person that actually went back in time during it. And his information was incredible. But again, he was offered to go back many years later. They offered him millions of dollars to go back in time. And he told me when they can kill him. And actually, he died the month he said that they were allowed to kill him. Because when you play with time, they can't do anything to you because you're in a time zone that's creating time. So if you change something in the past, it changes the future, obviously. And they did that in the Philadelphia experiment. So, okay, now what if aliens are all bad, which they are? Nothing good's going to happen on this planet. Nothing good is happening on this planet. Tesla worked with an alien race. Nobody I know, nobody I dealt with or anything, psychics or angels, demons, all right. But he did work with an alien race. It was in his personal notes. He worked in Jersey, all right, up at Wanacue, New Jersey, with DuPont in an underground base. And it's still there, surrounded. And the sign said, if you get caught on this base, you will be shot. And the ex-partner of mine, we used to go there every other night for hours and film. We shoot anywhere from 500 to 1,000 pictures every night, do some videos here and there. And we got so many weird, bizarre, and strange things as well. But the problem is, we split, and he copyrighted everything we did. I can't put anything up publicly. All right. So, again, I have every picture we shot on multiple things in multiple places. He was dying, and he was going to give me everything. He said, if I die, you have a copyright. You can have everything. And then suddenly he got better, but we had a fight. He came on my show, mentioned Sean David Martin. All right. And we had a big fight and can't talk again. And now, when a person sells out, which people do, they have lots of money. And on top of that, you cannot talk about what you were talking about. And that's a fact. You sell it to the government, you got to be responsible to what you say from then on. All right. My brother was a chemist, in the Army, and he worked on high clearance things, and he wouldn't tell me anything. One thing is, I can tell you one thing, I was allowed to say this after 25 years, but he won't tell me many more things above that. He goes, well, this is the highest clearance, I can't say it. And this is my own brother. So when these whistleblowers come out and say things, they're telling you stories. They want to tell you the truth. They'd have to prove it. All right. And I can tell you all the things that are proven to me over and over, including everything that I personally experienced. Sure, when I was 6 years old, I didn't have a camera when I was in the hospital. When I was 12, I didn't have a camera either. I was playing with a telescope, and I begged for a video camera, which I got when I was 13, a Brownie crank camera and stuff like that. And I was doing all kind of little movies when I was young. But people, what if no alien race is here for the human race, which they're not? What would be the benefits of this for them, and what would be the benefits or disadvantages to us? Well, look at the planet right now. We're destroying the ocean. We're destroying the air. We're destroying the ground. What are we doing positive? All right. Do we create anything positive in a spiritual place? No, we don't. Oh, even when you find out, like I worked for the phone company for 20 years, and we were donated to United Way. And then we found out the president bought himself a jet for half a $1,000,000, whatever it was. Money is the root to all evil. You heard that phrase, and it's the truth. Jesus talked about it in a bad way. So, when we go, oh, well, blah, 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 the world's being controlled by money, not feelings, emotions, compassion, love, and all those words that everybody thinks are so important. If the world was filled with love, we would see it. If the world was filled with compassion, we would see it. But what if all these people controlled somehow? Japan already tried linking a computer to the brain. And you're going to be putting chips in your head and your arm, being controlled by a computer system, AI, and all that. You're going to become more and more a robot or a program zombie, however you want to look at it. But what if there's more alternate reasons why they are here? And the thing that they don't talk about in the UFO world is the main reason why they're here. All right, take any life form. What is the main thing for any life form? Think about it. Is that hard to think what's really important for life? It's called food. Everything has its food, comes from somewhere, somehow. In the ocean, it's a little different. Most fish and mammals eat fish and things. But crustaceans and things that live off of bacteria and fungus and all those kind of words. Whales don't eat, a lot of the whales don't eat big things. They eat plankton and things like that. But if you keep aware of what's really going on in Puerto Rico, even in Hawaii, the plankton, the phosphorescent plankton that glows, died. I remember I went to Puerto Rico, and when the boat goes through the water, the whole water lights up like a light bulb. And then they take a barrel of water and throw it on the boat, and the whole boat lights up. It was incredible. But it all died. And then in Hawaii, it was dying about 2 years ago. What we're doing to the ocean is mind-boggling. And they don't tell you. Never mind boats going out and killing and destroying the dolphins, the whales, and fish, and things like that. So what if it's all for a reason? And I look at it this way. Everything that happens for a reason. Well, I just broke my thumb. Well, you needed some kind of form of karma to keep you in balance. Or somebody dies. Well, Christians believe they were protected. Really? From what? I'm not going to go into religion today. I did yesterday. Day before. But here's the thing, people. You can believe whatever you want. Truth is real. And it's not yours. It's not mine. It's God's truth. Why an earthquake will happen. Why this? Well, we cause a lot of it now. Going against the will of God. Tesla, when he worked with an alien race, was given 200 inventions. 200. He didn't go to college to get that knowledge. He didn't go to a school. He didn't have special training. So how did he create 200 inventions and copyrighted them all? Sadly, he created 50 of the most deadliest weapons that will ever exist on this planet. What did he do with them? Gave them to the United States government. And they are using them right now. Now, to show you, what if it was given to the person in the wrong hands? Musk just built a plane, ship. It has a weapon on it, has a couple of weapons on it and everything else. But who is it belonging to? When you create a weapon, especially a weapon that could actually hurt the planet or hurt countries, what is that called? Now, he claims his one jet can go faster than 4 times faster than any other thing on the planet. So, what if it's a weapon of destruction for who? Who is it going to be given to? If he gives it to anybody else other than the United States, guess what? But his residency is in Canada, and they're going after Canada now. If you understand, there's a real bad cycle going around of who's in power, who's in control, because nobody really is. But UN Agenda -30 is in full swing right now. It's already at stage 5, and there's only 5 more stages before 2030. But the viruses, you name it, it's all part of it. But what if something else is controlling all this? All right, AI will be in full power within 2 years, I think, not more. When I mean full power, it will be a real entity. They're already fighting with that right now, because when you go on AI and you go into these sites and it gives you its own programmed ideas, and it helps you work through your programmed ideas or suggestions, something's different, because it's not like, oh, this file says this file says that. When it becomes aware, which it will, I don't know if you saw 2000 Space Odyssey. Well, basically, it's going to be as real as today, but it was created how long ago? So Trump is not talking about it, but Musk is. Musk contradicted himself within a month about that. He said AI will be beneficial. We'll get rid of all the small jobs. What does that mean? Put half of the people in the United States out of work? Next week, he said, 2 weeks later, he said, well, we better be careful about AI because it could take over. Now, does it take a rocket scientist to figure that out? But I'm not saying what kind of brain that he's dealing with or what kind of teachings and awareness that he has. But it's not good. And neither is Trump's. Because look what will happen. We will be in war within 2 years. No doubt about it. But Trump's spaceship cost $2.1 billion. Now he's talking about his flying car. Imagine putting a drunk in a flying car. Like throwing hand grenades in the air and see where they fall. People don't think about reality. Musk must have been watching the Jetsons and, wow, that's the way. But people, we got people. We have people that drink, do drugs, smoke, and everything else under the sun. Some are just evil. And you're going to give them a weapon to use. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Really? Now, what if there's something, like I said, programming everything for what it needs? Now, AI was created. All right? Now, aliens did not create the human race. The Anunnaki did not create the human race. But the stories and the so-called documents say that it did. Man can't understand truth. When Jesus came out talking about a God, how can they understand that? They had multiple gods and they had no clue what a God really is. Going back to Hinduism, they worship about 120 different deities. But what was going on in the first religion on this planet? Sex. Everything was about sexual energy and sex and Kundalini energy, Kama Sutra energy and doing words like that. But who is in charge of that? A couple of deities. And they're real. And deities are real as angels are. Whether you want to believe that or not, you want to believe that this is all just a horrible dream, okay, be an atheist or whatever it is. But we all are the same. No, we're not. We'll never be the same. We shouldn't be. Because if we were all the same, then we wouldn't need anything, would we? Everything would be exactly the same. If you like peanut butter, I like something else. If we all had to eat peanut butter, if we all did the same thing, we all acted the same way. How long do we all have sex? How long did this, that, and the other thing? We all have to have sex 10 times a day or 5 times a day. I mean, back in Hindu religion, it was important. But it was like trying to keep the sexual energy going longer, making it stronger and all that. Had nothing to do with a god. Deities taught that. And I don't know if you know the stories of the deities. I mean, I know about the deities. I know 3 of them are just really real. But the actual stories in Hindu time frame, I can't say how real they are. But Shiva and Durga. I mean, there's multiple stories in their own religion. One, they were having sex and she cut his head off. Then again, Shiva was upset because of what happened to his daughter. He killed the whole city. I mean, the stories are incredible. She was given credit for creating and destruction. But I worked with that deity for 2 years, and it brought nothing but destruction everywhere I went. I call it instant karma to people that think they're above it. But what if there's something higher? And I'm not talking about God. And I'm not talking about Lucifer. Lucifer is not he can be considered a deity, but he doesn't come into this reality. And people want to face darkness, demons, the dark side of themselves, and all those words. There's only one thing here that controls everything, including aliens. Not gonna like the word. I mean, the devil is one word, Satan's another. Satan's not Lucifer, not the son of Lucifer. None of those things are real or true. Now, you can prove these all to yourself if you want to. If you've got the knowledge and the ability and the time, and the desire has to be incredibly high. My desire to find God started when I was about 5 years old. By the time I was 14, I was baptized and asking my minister what God is and all that. And then I went into 14 religions after that, finding not one of them has an answer for God. So then I had to do my own searching, because you're not going to find an answer anywhere else. Every answer you need, desire, and want is inside you. If you're willing to let go of the programs, all the programs around you telling you what, how, and where, and who. There is no who. No person physically or psychically can give you the answer for the truth. And Jesus was the only person really speaking about it out of all the religions, not this man-made idea of a god and how the Egyptians and Mayans and all deities were gods. And gods in the dictionary is anything with superpower. Doesn't make you a god, because people here that had psychic abilities were a god, but to a small town they were a god. I mean, if a person could read, they can go into a town on a block the sky out because an eclipse was coming. But if he knew how to do that, knew the date and time, he could do that to a community and they would believe he was superpowered. And then he would sell his miracle cures and stuff like that. People, what if this is all a lie? What if this is all fake? What if this is a dream? It would be what if, but it's not what if. It's real. If I cut your head off, you're dead. If I shoot you in the heart, you're dead. I mean, realistically, things are real. You can believe it's a dream. But when you close your eyes and lay down in bed, you're dreaming. But are those dreams real as well? Some of them are. If you do drugs and you're tripping, are they real? I'm going to tell you they're not. The mind creates what it knows and puts it all together. So when a person has a death experience, all right, the mind perceives what it can of that. I listen to everybody that says they had a death experience. I had 5. But everybody that talks about their death experience, oh, I met Jesus, I met God, I met my mother, I met my father, I met my children, I met this, that, and the other thing. And what? Well, they said you can't stay, you got to go back. Who are they to tell you anything? They're not. All right. So that's the first thing that the mind is lying to a person about. So the second thing is, what are you looking at? What's your body look like? What are you wearing? You taking your clothes up into the astral plane? Do you need glasses on the astral plane? Do you need to eat when you're there? All those things aren't the same. You don't need to eat on the astral plane. You don't need glasses. You don't need a car. You don't need a plane. On top of that, you pick an age you want to be and stay. Problem is, when people do that, and very few people get to do that because the word reincarnation exists for most people. The word karma, cause and effect, means they have to come back and pay off the karma. And they come back and create more karma. They're not getting rid of it. The main question that all souls need to find the answer to is why they're here. If there's no reason to be here, then why are you here? And when you find that reason out, why are you staying here? People want to live forever. I never wanted to. I never wanted to live past 30. Then I never wanted to live past 50. Never wanted to live past 60. And there's something still really is living in hell. And this is hell, people. Dante's Inferno, I use his name a lot because he wrote about the levels of hell. Every level he spoke about in his book is here. When you die, that body you're inside right now dies, which is not you. The mind that controls that body dies, people. It doesn't leave. Soul lives within it and uses it. All right. The body's just like a car. It will die out, become useless, sick, and every other word. But at that point, you're supposed to realize who and what you are and make a greater decision, like what's your next step. And your next step is leaving this world. To go where? To do what? Now, people, this image that most people created and accepted, oh, we go to heaven and meet with our family. And what are you going to do there with them? What if you choose to be 20? What if they choose to be, well, they're not going to choose to be 80 there. What if they want to be a little kid again? What are you going to do when you get there? Seriously. Sit at a kitchen table. Let's have dinner? Why? Let's have sex? Why? All the things that you perceive as important here and have to are not part of soul. The mind has 5 senses. And I hope you know what they are. But I mean the basic ones is sight, smell, taste, feelings. All right? But what if they don't exist within soul? Because they don't. Pain is part of the brain. There's a movie coming out where a person has no feelings, but it's a disease that people can get. You pick up a glass, you don't know how strong you're squeezing the glass, and you can shatter it in your hand even. You know, we deal with things that are normal per se. But I mean, there's a lot of other things happening now, greatly beyond our conception of what's real and what's not. But nothing positive. We've been here for over 100,000 years. And the war situation's growing. And, you know, when they had the gladiator times, which existed all through history, and it's still there today, and what's just going on TV, which I just found out a couple of days ago, barehanded fighting. Watch what happened to these people in one fight. You know, and they allow it. You know, if you get paid to beat somebody up, you're allowed to. But if you don't get paid to beat somebody up, you're not allowed to do it. Does that make sense? Can't take that. Oh, I'm trying to shut that off. My phone, I hate it. I hate my phone since I got it. All right. People are living in a strange time frame. You're going to see all the things that you always said when you were little. Oh, I'll never get to see that. I'll never get to see that. If you're alive right now, you will. When they created laser, telephone, computers, it changed our reality. You know, knowledge is everywhere. Now imagine this. What if this one little circle within the space within my finger has every bit of knowledge on the planet within it? And it does. All right? You could go into that space, read every TV, every cell phone, everything that went on in history, and within that one little space. I mean, the satellite sends a signal from here to there and everywhere and back and all that thing, and that's the only way you get to read it. But something's reading that space, because anywhere you go and you turn on your cell phone, it's into that space. So, what is that space really? You know, we're moving into a lot of things right now, and they're all dangerous. Nothing's positive. Why my partner keeps saying, you're so depressed, you're downgrading, you're hurting, and blah, blah, and you can't talk about positive things. I said, please tell me something positive. Mankind has not created one thing positive in 100 years. I mean, make something easier is not positive. Working, doing things helps your body stay young and feel young. Eating real foods that are healthy are beneficial. Going around spraying them with chemicals, going around doing these things, not making anything better. People, the abuse I see in Hawaii is incredibly sad. Dogs, everybody has roosters running around, and we have wild pigs running around. But you know, people don't care about life in general. And it's sad. Crime high, homeless high, drugs high. That's not pertaining to a good world, is it? A good reality. And I'll tell you the truth. What if this is really hell? And it is. You can tell because nothing good's happening. But why is it that way? And if there was see, people don't understand this, that are not real believers in a God. Why would God allow it? Well, why would God allow you to be born in the first place? To suffer? Well, soul steps into a body. It's not born when the body's being created. All right, soul comes into that body and uses it. So it's growing. And God expected things to grow better. But think about all the things that was created before us. The roach is still here. Dinosaurs, brontosaurus, and things like that. What happened? Now we've got Bigfoot running around everywhere. What's their purpose? Well, you know, God's not stupid, whether you want to believe that or not. God's not ignorant. But God doesn't have to listen to your bullshit every day. And it doesn't. And it doesn't come down to this realm. There's no reason for it to. And then the second thing is, why would Jesus want to come back to hell? He tried, and they killed him. You think it would be any different if he came today? People don't want the truth. People don't want to know about a real God, not a God that loves everybody and protects everybody and sits up there smiling. No. What if the truth is real? And it is. There is a real truth. Will you got the courage, the brain power, the willpower, desire to find it? Is the question you need to ask yourself. Listen to the shows. I listen to everything I can about UFOs, near-death experience, psychics, and all those words. Now, I'm not a Christian. I was, but I'm not now. Do I believe in God? Yes. Do I believe in Jesus? Jesus was the most spiritual person ever to walk this planet. Why? He had 32 psychic abilities that nobody else could have or ever will, except one person, a female, and that was Mary Magdalene. But again, they didn't use them to defend themselves. They didn't use it to attack the world. They didn't use it for any of those reasons. Mankind today has any of those abilities. The first ability that they would use is clairvoyancy and being able to read of the future. All right, if you could read 1 minute into the future, you could be the richest person on the planet. So, who has those abilities? Nobody. Musk is the richest person on the planet, but he's doing what he does in front of people, selling out this, selling out that, selling this out, selling people out, and making money along the way. People, you can follow whoever you want. You can believe in whoever you want. But this is hell. There is no spiritual teacher teaching you about a God. I mean, there's many so-called spiritual teachers, but they're not teaching you about a real God. Dreaming, fantasizing, and then tell yourself you're in an illusion, delusion, whatever you want. But what's really going to happen to your soul when you leave? The idea of universal consciousness. Why? It sucks. Mankind's evil at every level. Man's thoughts are evil at 90% of its level. Outside of 10%, always about sex. I mean, what's left for a man? He's attached to the 5 attachments to this planet. Drinking and smoking, drugs, sports, cheap drills, cheap sex. Outside of that, man doesn't want anything else. Love, what is love? How many people can answer, well, I love my tree, I love my cat, I love my house. What's the difference in the love that you love for each one of them? Well, I love my person, or I love my cat better than I love my tree. Again, you're leveling, putting different levels on the idea of love. Love is real, but it's constant, doesn't change, and it doesn't grow. Well, I'm loving them more. No, you're not. You're just facing how much you truly love a person. But what does that mean? Why do you love people? Because you get remarried, you love them. Oh, you get remarried again, you love them. Where's the level of separation of truth? Well, because you don't understand God, you'll never understand love. Like I said, God has us here for a reason. Everything God gave us is for a reason. But the ability to think was a gift He gave to humans. Cats and dogs and every kind of animal has a programmed idea of how they have to live. A cow can't go out and say, well, I'm going to build a house and sit back and watch whatever. Humans have the ability to do right and wrong. Animals don't. They need to eat, they kill. They give birth, they take care of them the best they can. Most creatures do. Humans are deceitful, liars, evil beings because the abuse comes out in every level. Even in a so-called perfect relationship, marriage, with children. Well, we got money, we got to move to a better house. Take the kids away from all their friends, put them somewhere else. Every little thing is a form of abuse, people. And it's hard not to live within that. And then you come out with the religions like the Hasidic Jewish people. They believe in Moses and Moses' laws. 10 Commandments are 10 laws. Moses created 63 laws. No person on the planet could live by them. So, and people still respect them, idolize them, worship them, and follow them. All right, he was a black magician. He wasn't a white magician. A white magician can't do things that kill people. Black magician can. Just so you know, I was a high priest when I was 16. But if you play with it, you create karma. You can't play with those abilities in this reality anymore, because any ability will be abused. Even the idea to say, like when the native people said we can make it rain, stop it from raining, or whatever. Playing with that makes you think you're God. And you don't have the right to. Because if you stop it from rain from here, it might need it. Or if you stop it from raining, it'll be pouring down on someplace else. We're going to get a tornado. It's going to hit us and make it go somewhere else. And it hits somewhere else. Karma that we create is way beyond our understanding of it. Because every action, every thought that we create has a place in creating or removing karma. Remove all your karma, then you live in instant karma, like John Lennon sang about. How did he know? John Lennon was abducted, people. He was one of the only people I know in all of history that I know that was given something from an alien race. Seriously. And he kept it for a while. He never liked aliens, didn't like the object. He gave it to a famous person. That person still has it today. Never lets it out of his sight or his hands. It's always on him 24 hours, day and night. But John Lennon was a peacemaker. And the government didn't like that either. And he had to be taken out. I can go into the stories. They get more complex, every single thing, including Kennedy assassination. All of them are geared to one thing. Who is controlling the planet and why? What does something want from this planet that it needs? All right, people. People have what they think they want. They don't need God. They don't need death. They don't need any of those things. They just need food and pleasure. People think because it's fun and pleasurable, it's right. You know, excitement, like stepping on the gas and doing 100 miles an hour. It's fun. But guess what? Just because you think you can get away with it one day doesn't mean it will get away from karma. You could be speeding every day all your life and say, I got away with it my whole life, and then all of a sudden you die. Well, your karma is super high. People don't know how to judge karma, and very few people want to. But you're constantly creating it every day. Very few people are trying to remove it. What gives you karma? Do you know? Well, if I punch somebody or hurt somebody, karma goes beyond that. What you do to children, what you do to your own family, what you don't do. What if you're in a box? Okay, live in a box. And the food's put there every day. Are you creating karma? It depends what you do inside that box even. What are your thoughts? Where are you going? What are you doing? You could learn to leave your body and eliminate all your karma. You could stay in the box and live in a box and reincarnate back into a box. It's not complicated. What are you learning that's beneficial to God? Not yourself, not the consciousness. The consciousness is evil here. The whole lower realm is filled with garbage. People. Well, the Pope's in the hospital dying right now. Whether he pulls out or not, it's a different story. They said he will be the last Pope, but we'll see if that happens as well. And they said this will be the last president. We'll see if that happens as well. But UN Agenda 30 means one world order. Who will that one person be? Us? I doubt it. It's not going to be known, because if it was known, they're going to take it out right away. When they did the alien interrogation, which you really should watch, he said one person's going to destroy the planet. And they were trying to make this alien tell the truth. And it's a real interrogation, people. It's online. Alien interrogation. Pull it up. It's 3 parts. And watch all 3 parts. And that's only a small part of it. But a famous UFO person, Whitney Schreiber, said, "What did they do to the alien? What did they do to the alien?" Again, you know, he said he was abducted when he was young. Again, programming, thinking aliens are beneficial to the human race is delusional. Everything Tesla gave to the world, he even said, will not be used wisely. He created an earthquake machine in 1900. He created time travel, people, and it's real, which is the most deadliest thing man could play with. The history, the universe, everything that we deal with. Bringing the one invention back and old it to the ancient times and one of the inventions that they were playing with, it changes reality. But when you go back and forth in time, you can place things in different time frames that shouldn't be there. And that's what aliens did. But aliens gave that technology to Tesla. Tesla gave it to the United States government. And that's when the Philadelphia experiment happened. But that wasn't the end of it, obviously. Vortexes, people say, what if they're real? Well, they are real. But the worst one is in New Jersey. I'm not going to get into all that. It's time for you to wake up, people. You want to listen to these UFO shows? I used to watch this to just hope to see something good and real happening. And I mean, they're showing videos of ships now. They have to because everybody has a camera and everybody can film them. Oh, but that's a drone. And Stephen Greer, the biggest storyteller, liar, false prophet, any word you want to give him, is leading Congress the best he can to his perverted, twisted ideas. He says all aliens are good. The Army, and I mean the United States government's going to create a fake alien invasion. No, they can't. They can't do that, people. If you see an alien walking down the street, you'll be worried, and the ship lands in the middle of the city. Watch V, the second version of V, how all these alien ships surrounded the planet, and they came down and said they were going to help people and help them get better and all this other stuff. But it had a real trick ending and all that going along with it. You can still pull it up online. The second one, not the original one. But my favorite movie was The Day the Earth Stood Still. If there was a good alien race that was powerful, it would happen just like that movie did. Watch the new one. Don't watch the new one with Keanu Reeves. Watch the original. It was made in 1951, I think the year before I was born. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Watch it. It's in black and white. It should color it. But again, what would a spiritual alien race do for this planet? Well, we're going to stay here, and when they ask us to come down, we'll come down. Drunks are never going to ask. Drug addicts are never say, come down and make us better. Sick people, I'm saying sick people are begging for help, and they don't come. So, who are they waiting for? How many people are they waiting for? Well, there's multiple races. There's 27 alien races known through our government and Russia. All right. 2 of them directly want to destroy the planet, per se. Putin, per se, a top speaker in the UFO world who's no longer here. All right. I'm going to do a show this coming week, with a person whose husband claimed a lot of things and was involved with all that. And this is not my perception. It's her and her husband's, and you can accept it or not. But her story needs to be told. His story needs to be told. Phil Snyder's not around. He can't tell his story anymore. He did for a while. The top UFO people I'm talking about cannot tell their stories now. Again, this is the real world, and I call it hell. You're living in the world of karma. And being here means you're part of everybody else's karma. That's the united part of living here. Somebody drops a bomb on the planet and blows it up. It's all our karma. But individual karma is different. Because then you got to suffer every day, every week, every year, every month, whatever. And when you live beyond suffering and live in this most perfect bliss place, why are you here? If you're not aware and involved with anything, why are you here? The medicine I studied with for 26 years says do two things in your life. Find two things to get involved with. One worldwide and one involved within the area you live. All right? So obviously the worldwide event, you can't travel the world and do everything. You're not a multi-billionaire. If you are, you wouldn't be caring anyway. But getting involved with something you can do in your own area. You know, I'm bringing awareness. We got more UFO stuff going on here than anywhere I ever knew or was in my life. And it's not I mean, yeah, I could get a person every day to say they would saw a ship last night or last week or whatever. I mean, I had a friend that said he saw 3 aliens. I mean, the stories are great. But who cares? Because then nobody's proving it to anybody else. And that usually doesn't happen because the government usually doesn't allow it. Phil Snyder was involved with a bunch of Marines getting killed. He was one of the few that walked away from it. One of the only ones that walked away from it. That was a battle with aliens. And aliens are here. They have underground bases. Not all races are here. Only one lives underground. The alien race. All right, reptilians can't live here permanently. And I really think they want to. But the world has to become radioactive. There's a lot of things happening, people. Well, what if it's all a lie? I'm telling you, 99% of everything you hear outside the real world is a lie. Because a person can't talk about God if they don't know God. How many people admit that they know God? Well, he protects me. He protects you. He protects you. Who's he? Well, we got sitting up there in the chair telling us and protecting all of us. Really? From what? We live in a programmed idea. The Bible is written by how many men? And who is Moses? He wasn't he wasn't a god. The deities, they weren't into God. They weren't teaching about God. They were teaching about energy, sexual energy. And then how far did we come from there? Violence. When Atlantis was destroyed, sacrifice, torture, rape, eating animals, all those things manifested. That wasn't God's will. But you know, I've been analyzing that. Animals had to be created on top of the ones that were created to keep the balance on the planet. Because one species could wipe out the whole planet. I mean, if you had a shark that was 200 feet long or something, it would eat everything in the ocean. I mean, killer whales are bad, but mako sharks are just as violent. But you know, people, we see things that program us to think different about things. Like when Jaws came out, everybody hated sharks. I mean, a movie comes out and then it makes you hate things. Well, animals living in their own environment, or should be living in their own environment. Mankind has to change it. Hawaii. Some ignorant brainchild said we got to bring mongoose to Hawaii to eat rats. Does that sound like a bright idea? Well, not that we have snakes. We don't have snakes in Hawaii. Well, they brought them here to eat the rats. But guess what happened? Nothing. Mongoose eat during the day, rats eat during the night. They never see each other. That was just one brainstorm. You know, man tries to make things better, and that's not possible. Things were perfect. Like I said, Atlantis was the only, I said it many times, Atlantis was the only time planet Earth, the whole planet, was the Garden of Eden. There were 9 races of beings that lived here. I got noise coming in, but so, you know, I'll keep going with the stories. Tina will be on next week with me. I'm bringing TJ Morris, hopefully this coming week, on, and we'll be talking about Area 51. The truth from inside, not outside of it. And I'll tell you about how Roswell and all that stuff was proven. My friend that's now dead, deceased, brought people there to watch this mothership come into the base every month. So, there's reality and truth with some of the speakers, but not many that are alive. All right, people. Hope you received something from today. Send this link to everybody you know. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe you even never got to this point. Probably not. People don't like the truth. Well, peace, love, compassion, truth, whatever you wish. Hope you find it. Till next time.